We create a very intuitive tool that make your coding smooth and do for you a lot of mundane tasks. You can offset your boring, predictable parts of code to our wizard, and you can focus on the innovative parts of code that need your ability to find specific and unique solution for your development. It will generate predictable and repetitive parts of code and give you as a developer time to innovate. Let's talk about tools that try to help with ABAP develop work productivity. These tools are not completely strange to SAP world. SAP delivered two commonly used wizards. Report Writer, it generates ABAP report based on a design data model, and LSMW, Legacy System Migration Workbench, which is a tool to create conversion to replace typical ABAP conversion program. Some big consulting companies try to create program templates to standardize programs to follow the best practice approach. CodeWiz try to combine these two approaches, wizard and template, to deliver better solution for SAP developers. Let's define what SAP Writer is and what it can do for us. Report Writer interface was designed for SAP consultants and did not require knowledge of ABAP coding. It created ABAP report based on definition of SAP tables and selected fields. It displayed data in a classical report list. Because it was designed to be used more by functional consultants, it lacks flexibility and could be just used for generating very simple reports. Benefits of report writer are we could create report in a matter of minutes. We don't need consultant with ABAP skills. Its interface is very simple and moderately user-friendly and required minimum training. Disadvantages are that generative code is very complex. Trying to cover as much out of the box functionality that make reports easy be so complex that could be a performance bottleneck. Generative code is not possible to modify. Actually, you can copy code and create your own Z version. Since generated code try to cover all bases, it's very complex and require very skillful developer to modify. You can find out in a lot of cases that created from scratch is easier path than modify such a code. Let's talk about legacy system migration workbench. It is a very complex tool that try to cover all bases to move data from legacy system to SAP. It required at least 10 steps to achieve successfully translation of data from source legacy system to post-translated content to SAP databases. LSMW has this major feature: could read an input file, do data translation, save it to staging database, and then using BDC or code transaction or function to update data in SAP database. Benefits of LSMW is that it didn't require ABAP development resource. It is very methodical, step-by-step approach that has almost all necessary steps and tools to make conversion happen. Disadvantage is very complex and not very intuitive too. It is missing cleanup feature that support legacy system in an effort to fix their input data, identify the group of errors that has to be fixed before conversion could be successfully executed. Complexity could also carry potential issue to make error during the conversion. It has to be run step by step in production. I was doing such a conversion for one of my customers, and since everything was already written in LSMW before I got involved, I was asked to help with running. It was a very time consuming task, very complex and dangerous. I have to write a script for myself to be able to exercise in production tasks in right sequence without screw up. Google Live usually has a very short window, and LSMW take a lot of time resources for execution and could be in a way to smooth and quick conversion. It does not require a developer. but person in charge of actual conversion has to be very experienced and very methodical. When we do conversion, it is preferable to use one tool and not multiple. If we use LSMW, it is mostly for the simple conversion. For more complex, we still have to use the conversion program. This slow down go live and make more prone to error. In a typical go live conversion, you have to prepare data in a staging area and then you just run your background job that has a collection of all conversion programs sorted by sequence and you don't need to worry about the missteps. This background job could be tested in a QA and then replicated using a production. And generally, LSMW doesn't allow that kind of the approach, fast and safe. Program templates is approach to usually big consulting company used to try to go. As I mentioned, I was leading that effort decades ago in KPMG Consulting. Template deliver best practice approach for coding, reports, conversion, application, and other development objects. Program template define how parts of program will look and what is desired overall structure of program. It is very common good practice to have an MVC approach where model part, where SQL and collection part is separated for display part and control part of the program. Report program didn't allow complete separation of control piece of code, but partially could be achieved. Templates help to enforce development standards and help developers to follow the best practices of coding. It set up the coding patterns cross-company that help other developers easy to pick and fix, modify, or finish development objects. It could help developer to stick with MVC architecture. Disadvantage is not there is no productive gain for developer. It will slow down his work since didn't allow him to use his approach. Developer will not use it or try to do it his or her way anyway, since it is bottleneck for his development efforts. CodeWiz at this moment offer this feature, but we are working on extending to deliver most of the common development objects necessary in SAP development lifecycle. We identify these three basic development objects in SAP. Report is a program that has a SQL of one or multiple databases, then collect data together, could do some calculation, and at the end display data. User interaction with display data is limited to show some more detailed information. The other program types is conversion. Conversion is a program that getting data from different systems. We support Excel as an input file. Program read Excel file, make a conversion to fit SAP requirements, save data in a staging database. If conversion looks okay, the next step is to attempt to update SAP database using standard SAP method called transaction or function model. Conversion program has to display a result of such an update, has the ability to reprocess for failed records. Conversion program has to have a feature or has a feature to export updated results. We are delivering in an Excel format for analysis and cleanup of input data. The third basic object is application. Our understanding is very similar to report. It shows previous entries and modify data. It means it looks like report. But user interaction is not limited just to display. But through that program, we could also create new record, update record, or delete already created record. If we are talking about technology of development objects we are supporting, these are technology. Our code could be created in a form of classical ABAP report. We also supporting creating theory components, creating OData, DDL view, DDL extension, and artifacts of class extension of the OData service. Program also could be generated as an ABAP object-oriented code. We use OData for data modeling, and report code use object-oriented approach. We are also working to support iOS Swift native code, and we also generate the interface between SAP and iOS device. In the long term, we envision support also for Android native code. Due to simple interface, our tools could be used by ABAP developers of all level of experience. For beginners, it could be a teaching tools how to do a simple program. For more advanced developers, tools help to save time and brain power on predictable and repetitive part of code. Interface give you chance graphically design even very complex report in several minutes, and it will create several hundred lines of code. They have to be written manually if you don't have such a tool. It creates also base for technical specification just by reading final code and pulling important elements to Word document and table in a Word document. It supports table for selection option parameters for report list. It also generates structure of program and subroutine. You can just finish by speaking about pool details. Wizard not Wizard is not in most cases creating final product with exception of the very simple reports, but give you chance to continue on work, saving you hours of the some initial work and specific parts that could be generated. Code with a major task is to improve your productivity and in the same time deliver well designed code. Interface give you an easy way to design basic details of your development object, and then by click on generated icon it will create several hundred pages of code and save you hours of work. Code that is not very innovative and tired to do, and if you do finish more interesting inspired parts of the code. Generation is done in the background without additional input from your side in several seconds. Then you will copy generated code and pass to your development system. We estimate that developer productivity could be raised by 200 or 400%. You can go to our website CodeWiz, click on the tutorials, and then select the video. Create simple report in 1 minute, and you could easily find out how our tools could be used and how you can create simple report in just under 1 minute. If you watch a video, you could see the developer select list of databases that is going to use it in a program. Then it will show you all available fields in a database. And then as a developer, you specify which field will be selection criteria, which will be drilled down, which will be hidden. And you just click on a button to generate, and it will generate code for you. Wizard will create based on a data model and design specific data type for you, internal table. It will create your internal tables. It will create your Jones select statement based on your data model. If you are not completely happy with the generated code, you could easily modify to cover a specific request. It will try to structure a report with MVC approach. Model part select statement and collection is isolated from display part. When your development is done, you copy your code back to our tools and it will generate for you technical documentation. CodeWiz is not just for developers, but could be used by functional consultants to define the requests in a detail and generate functional spec in a very convenient and fast manner. Their design could be then taken over by developer and make final tune-ups and generate the code that will be used as a base for final product. It uses SAP databases to create specific data model related to the required task. Generic code will be structured way following best practices. It can be used for training beginners in a basic coding approaches in ABAP developing. Repetitive parse codes are minimized or eliminated. We estimate that for simple development objects, our tool will save up to 90% of development work. Compared to report writer, you need to add some new functionality as a fixed score. It's very easy to achieve and not time consuming. For a medium-sized program, it saves around 50%. For a big project, it's just 30%, but still it's a significant amount of the resource time. In all cases, program have the same structure and could be in the future handled easy by other team or developer changes required. It could eliminate offshore requests and keep all development efforts inside the company and eliminate issue with takeover. Or it could help them use them more productively, and since they will get generated program, will be easier for them to keep them in a sync with company code architecture and standardization. Tools is available as a cloud service on a monthly or yearly basis, and yearly cost is equal to saving 3 or 4 simple reports just by using the tools and productivity that we could achieve. Generally, our tool could be paid in a short time. We could also offer consulting services